Welcome to the Holistic Nutrition Hub podcast, the show that helps you take your nutrition business, marketing, and consulting to the next level. Today, I'm happy to be joined by video strategist, YouTuber, and course creator, Amanda Horvath. Hey, Amanda, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Stoked to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please?
Absolutely. So for 6 years, I ran a video marketing business where I was actually the one behind the camera, shooting and editing everyone else's content. And during that time, I got to work with some really incredible clients, dream clients at that. And while working with them, I really realized that no one knows what they're doing when it comes to video, and that there's a huge opportunity for it's a completely even playing field, and that someone who wanted to start from scratch could absolutely crush it if they did it right. So I saw an opportunity and decided to overcome my awkwardness, step in front of the camera, and start building my own brand with creating weekly videos on YouTube. So I've now been doing that for 2.5 years, and I teach other business owners how to create videos on their own using the gear that they already have, aka your phone.
Talk about that transition that you had between behind the camera to in front of the camera. How was it for you?
It is a terrifying thing to sit in front of the camera for the first time. It's like a lion is running at you. Your heart, or at least for me, my heart was racing so fast you could literally hear it through the microphone. And it's really just a matter of getting comfortable and starting to do it, because it's a completely unnatural thing to talk to an inanimate object. So it just takes practice. It just takes doing it. For me, actually, one of the things, like, now I coach people through how to do that exact process, and could actually give you a quick little tip if you wanted, for someone who might be feeling that way, feeling awkward.
Go for it.
So this is something that I would actually encourage you to do today, because you're going to experience massive growth when you do take action and make it happen, and no one has to see it. It's just purely for yourself. So what you do is you just put your phone down somewhere, just so you're not holding it, vertical, horizontal, doesn't matter. And you're going to say, "Hey, I'm Amanda, and I'm testing out my on-camera personality to see what works best for me." And you're going to repeat that phrase in multiple different ways. So you'll say it in your normal voice, and then 25% more excited, and then 50% more excited with move your hands and your head and your shoulders, and then 75%, and then 100%, go crazy with it, over the top. Watch it back, and you'll very quickly realize why you've looked like an absolute serial killer up until this point when it comes to video. And you'll find what works best for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. And like you said, do it right now. Like, pause this podcast, whether you're watching or listening, pause it, go do the task that Amanda just gave you, and then come back in, 5 minutes and then resume the podcast. But please pause and go do this, because I think this is great advice, especially if you're afraid of the camera. Can you maybe talk about some of the struggles that you had at first getting in front of the camera, even though you were very well versed with the behind the scenes stuff? What were your first struggles when you started, flipping to being the subject of the video?
Yeah. So when you look at me now, you wouldn't guess it. A lot of people are surprised, but I'm a total introvert. I've always been more on the shyer side. I can kind of be outgoing, but there's so many different limiting beliefs that pop up when it comes to sitting in front of the camera and doing this, that you have to overcome. I have to become the person who is putting myself out there, who is stretching my comfort zone, who is saying, yes, I have something valuable to share with the world. I'm going to sit down and make it happen. So I think that transition for me was really moving from this person that was behind the scenes and more on the shyer side to the person that was in front of the camera and sharing it. So it's like the mindset shift, in addition to the fear of overcoming that, was a big thing for me.
Why is let's jump into the questions. I have the first one would be, why, for those wondering, why is video so important in 2021?
So obviously everyone's like, yeah, video is amazing. I should be using video, blah, 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 right? You know that. I'm not going to tell you that. However, what I will tell you is that video, if you have the desire to do video, I genuinely believe that this desire is being instilled in different people from a higher power. I'm just going to come out and say it. And they're literally, it's like a call to adventure for you to step up your game, up level your life and business by showing up in a way bigger way online than you've ever showed up before. And it's kind of a call to adventure that you're not going to be able to make the impact that you are desiring to make in the world without video. So I think it's really important from a standpoint of listening to your gut instinct. If you're being told that video is right for you, I can promise you that if you listen to that voice, it will lead you on an adventure that you can't even currently imagine how much it will change your life. I've firsthand experienced it. I've seen it happen to so many different clients. And it's just like this ripple effect that the benefit that comes with video just changes everything.
Yeah, and I think it's especially important for all the nutritionists listening who want to, have an impact, make a difference, bring something to people. And I think the video beyond, obviously working with clients, getting more clients, growing your business, it allows you to impact people that might have not known what you were talking about, or not have known about you, period, if you didn't actually make the video. So maybe for those that are still on the fence whether they need to do it or not, is your goal to make a difference? If yes, then you kind of have to, because it is the best way to connect, right? I mean, we talk about the internet and social media not being real connection with people, but I think video is the closest you can get to actually being yourself and communicating with people online. Beyond, written word, audio, pictures, all those things are great, but video has to be the ultimate medium, right?
It really is. And it's what's really freeing about video that people don't really realize is that everyone thinks like, oh, it's this really hard thing that I have to do and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you look at marketing in general, think about the challenges that come along with it. You're having to be so perfect in your copy. You're having to like really make sure that your captions are captivating people and making them comment or like or do whatever it is, right? That is so much work. Sitting down in front of a camera and being yourself and having people pick up on your energy and get to see how much you genuinely care, that's actually way easier. So I think that that's another way to kind of flip the switch on it too, is recognize that if you do a great job of being in person with your clients and you can make a big impact by doing that, then it's going to translate to video 100%. It just might take a little transition period to make it happen.
Yeah, and like everything, like you said before, it's a skill. You have to practice it. You're not going to be great the first time, the second time, the fifth time, the 10th time, but once you've done it enough times, then it starts to become natural, right? And you don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have butterflies, or not as much as the first time. And,
right.
and you can just kind of do it naturally. Like the first time you consult with a client, you might be, your hands are shaking, you're not quite sure what you're doing, but you've done 10 consults, you've done 20, you got 50 under your belt, you're feeling pretty good about it now. And it's kind of, let's just sit down and, talk to this person and help them. And I feel like video is the same. Once you've done it enough, you can just sit down and do it, or walk around and do it even. And it becomes much, much easier than the first time around.
Yeah. And I think you get to know yourself at a whole different level too, which is really another like huge part of it too. So as you continue to grow in confidence with yourself, you end up showing up with even more confidence online, which then attracts the right people to you as well. So there's so many benefits. I can go on and on about why video.
Yeah, could go on all day as well. And I think, again, maybe for those who are on the fence, think about how much video content you consume. As a nutritionist, as a person listening to this podcast, how many videos do you watch? You might be watching this in video, and you think of all the other people that you watch and that you follow and that you respect for the work that they put out. You could be in that same position for other people by just getting in front of the camera and doing it. It is that. Do you think there is a way to move beyond 2021 without video at all in your business? If you think about, only do written word, pictures, and audio maybe, but do you think it's a viable way forward given the current atmosphere of, social media and online content?
Yeah, great question. I heard this stat the other day that just blew my mind, and I think it really captures why video is so important. So, viewers retain 95% of what they hear from a video compared to 10% in text. So, if you're really looking to make that impact with your clients and you're only relying on text or you're only relying on photos, right? Like a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, well, video is 24 pictures in 1 second. So there's a whole lot more that you can communicate on that. So I really think that if you are not using video, your competition will inevitably start using video very soon and will leave you in the dust. It is just like having a website back in the 2000s, right? It's like, if you're not going to hop on this bandwagon and get a website, you're going to be left behind. Well, whether you hate this, it triggers you or not, and pay attention to it if it triggers you, but video is here to stay, and it's only going to get more and more intimate from here.
Can you give us the lay of the land of the different platforms that exist and where video is really kind of a corner piece in terms of what people consume? What are the maybe the big five for you at this point?
For platforms?
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube are kind of my focus points. I have not gone into TikTok and honestly not played around a ton with IG Reels either. I can totally talk about that. I think that it's choosing the platform that you prefer, that you will actually spend time on, and looking at what each platform needs in order to trigger the algorithm. Because, for example, with Instagram, to fully do it right, you got to be posting daily. I don't know about y'all. I'm not about to post daily. That sounds like a lot of work. Like, I am all about sustainable content. How can we create sustainable content? Now, Instagram stories, that's something that's super easy to post daily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that did make it a lot easier to kind of stay consistent on the platform. And then LinkedIn, it's about 5 times a week is the average. If you're doing, this is like the absolute best, right? If you're doing these things, but we can kind of hack the algorithm a little bit by using video and having that have a higher reach compared to just a typical text post. And then YouTube is obviously once a week. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk about this in a little more detail? When you say trigger the algorithm, can you maybe explain for people that are not familiar with the idea?
Okay, so each platform has this mysterious algorithm in the background that you have to do these best practices in order to trigger it, and it's constantly changing, and especially as each platform becomes more and more what's the word, evolved, or like it's been around for a longer time,
right?
Yeah, then it gets even harder. So let's talk about, for example, Instagram stories. How does that algorithm work? Well, when you post on Instagram stories, you are going to be in those circles at the top of Instagram. And if you post just once throughout the day, then you only like pop up once. But if you post several times throughout the day, so instead of just having like one story that you upload, it's like, oh, I'm going to like share my morning, I'm going to share my afternoon, I'm going to share my evening. And you just kind of have it be this natural flow. Then you're going to be popping up 3 different times at the top of people's feeds. Like, you will be moving up in terms of how close you are to the front of that person's screen, if that makes sense. So with LinkedIn, let's say, it's like you need to get likes and comments very quickly on your posts in order for that to trigger the first hour, I think, is the most important of that. And so you really want to like have your friends, hey, I just posted on LinkedIn, can you go like and comment on this, or maybe join an engagement pod or something like that, to like really, that's what I mean by like trigger the algorithms to where then that post gets sent and seen by more people, which gets you more reach. And when you have more reach, you have more demand. And when you have more demand, you have higher prices. So it just all plays into each other.
That was a good little rundown. I think it is important for people to understand maybe the half-life of a post, and how you said the stories, you get more chances if you post throughout the day. It's clear now that, as like you said, the older a platform gets, the more saturated it gets, and the less lifetime you have on a post. So even an Instagram post as such, you don't get, obviously depends on the quality and how many people you reach, but past, a few hours or a day, it's very rare that people are going to actually see that post again. If they go onto your account page and look for it, they'll see it and they can like it from there. But in the feed, there's so many things going on that it's almost impossible to get a post that lasts very long. So like you said, it's a bit more chance if you post throughout the day in the stories, less chance on the posts themselves, unless like you said, you post daily. And then LinkedIn, you need those, few likes and comments at the beginning. How does YouTube stack up compared to those when it comes to video?
Yeah, so YouTube is the end game in my eyes if you're creating weekly video content or just being consistent with video, because it's like cloning yourself. You do not have to have as much worry about your videos disappearing within seconds in the feed, because they have a long lifespan. So videos that I created 2 years ago, they're still being ranked and people are finding them within search of YouTube. So you have to think about like the mindset of YouTube, right? People are not necessarily going to YouTube to scroll. There are people that do, like YouTube viewers specifically, but more of the users on YouTube, they're going there and they're saying how to create a smoothie that is, whatever, the best nutrition, has whatever nutrition in it. I'm clearly butchering that topic. You can insert any topic that you're thinking of here. But someone would be searching for how to have the best macros in my diet. I don't know.
There you go.
And so then when people are searching for that, they want an answer right then and there. They want to watch a video. They don't want to hear you rambling. They want to say, in this video, I'm going to break down macros and make it finally make sense to you. And then you can like introduce yourself. Then you break down what they want to know right then and there. And by following that method with YouTube, then you're actually going to be getting discovered by new people. These videos will continue to work for you over time, and it starts to become a little bit more of an exponential growth opportunity. So I think the way that I kind of think about it, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, it's like that quick hit. It's that short, immediate gratification. But YouTube is the delayed gratification that continues to give back for years to come.
And like you said it really well, YouTube is a search engine. I lost the word now. Thank you so much. A search engine, just like Google is, but for videos, right? It's actually the second in line to Google of all.
And it's owned by Google too.
And exactly, yeah.
So if you can get a video ranked, you're more likely to pop up on the first page of Google than if you're trying to like finesse the SEO of your website.
I think, even a little side note, I think I saw today on my YouTube feed on my phone, they started putting Google results inside the YouTube feed. I don't know if I just hallucinated or if it's a brand new thing, but I saw something like that and I was like, whoa, this is weird. Starting to put other things in there, but
that's really interesting. I haven't seen that yet, but maybe I need to update.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just noticed it today, so it might be a brand new thing that has just come out. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just talking way out of line, but you'll have to go and check it out, I guess. When talking about YouTube, you said that the important thing is the hook, the first few seconds of the video, to really kind of restate what you're going to talk about, to kind of validate people's choices in clicking on your video, so that, like you said, it's not like you just staring at the screen for 5 seconds before it starts, because people click away really quickly. And then a big factor of getting ranked and staying at the top of search results on YouTube is not only all the keyword stuff that we'll talk about just after, but making sure people watch your video, right? The more they watch your video, watch time, the more they watch your video, the more time they spend on it. That's what's going to help you grow. So can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the game is retention. Like really making sure people are watching your video all the way through. So the biggest mistake that I see people make is they're like, well, I'm just going to go live on Facebook or Instagram. I'm going to take that video and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. And so I'm going to be everywhere all at once. Awesome. Good luck. Like, not going to work because no one wants to hear you rambling on a live on YouTube. It's a different game. So you want to really be creating videos that give people the information that they need in the fastest way possible without, like, it could be long, right? Like YouTube videos, my YouTube videos tend to be like 15 minutes at this stage or sometimes even longer.
Mhm.
Yeah, typically 15 minutes or under, I'd say. And that's because like I'm giving them as much information as I can, but I'm holding their attention if they want to genuinely learn that topic. So there's different tricks that you can do to really increase that for your to increase people watching your videos. In
Mhm.
fact, I have it's a totally free 3-part video series that is my quick start guide to video. And in the third video of that series, I break down a script structure that allows people to actually watch your videos all the way through. And if you learn that structure and just use it in every single one of your videos, whether it is a live or a pre-recorded video, then you're going to get really good results.
I will definitely link that in the comments. So sorry, in the show notes. So go check this out for everybody listening and watching. One thing I want to come back on what you said about the length of the video. A lot of people think that 2021 short attention spans. We need to make everything super short. From personal experience on my other YouTube channel that I run for my personal training business, my most viewed videos are a 40-minute presentation that I did. It's about physiology. It's probably boring for 99% of people, but it has the most views of any videos. The second one is a 2.5-hour podcast that I did. And so all the most watched ones are some of the longest videos that I made. So can you comment on that maybe? Because people still think that, hey, if it's too long, then you're going to lose people. It's really about the quality, right? It's not about how long it is.
It's definitely about the quality. If you can keep people listening and watching, awesome. And it's better in that case. So for you to have a video, your top ranked video, to be 40 minutes or 2 hours long, that's way better than my top video is like 7 minutes long and it has like 313,000 views or something like that. And so, but because those 313,000 views are only 7 minutes, compared to if you had your video might have like 50,000 views, but it's 2 hours. That's how YouTube really calculates what's valuable and what's not. It's based on watch time, not views.
Another thing that's really important on YouTube is thumbnails and titles.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think about 100% being the whole video production, the content, the thumbnail, the title, how much weight would you give to thumbnail plus title choice and craftsmanship over the whole video itself?
So technically, if no one clicks on your thumbnail after or seeing your title, right, then your video doesn't matter. So it's really important. It's everything. And it doesn't mean, like, when I first started, I remember thinking like, oh, well, that means like I have to put in a ton of work into the thumbnail. It can just mean that your title is engaging, and relevant to the keyword that people are going to be searching for. And then you can put some emotional triggers into your thumbnail, like you have a little bit of extra text that might not be keyword rich content. However, it's enticing people to click and watch that video. So it might give more context for what you're going to talk about in the video or something like that. So it can be as simple as you just like taking a screenshot of yourself, pausing and pointing to the side. And then you add the text there. You don't have to get like super crazy with it. I think that's like a reassuring thing in terms of sustainability on YouTube.
Out of curiosity, how much keyword research do you do for all your videos? Do you do it for every single video? Are there some key videos that you do keyword research for?
Every single video. The goal is to get ranked.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balancing act with YouTube, and it's just kind of fun. This is a fun convo to have, actually. So I'm really big into having your content solve problems within your business. So if you have a client, like think about your clients and all of the things that you're constantly repeating to your clients. That is taking up your time, whether
Mm.
you think it's taking up your time or not. Think about like sales calls. You get on a sales call with someone and you need to describe basic information to them in order for them to be ready to even invest with you. So if you can take those topics and create videos from that there, then that's going to save you time and people are going to hop on the phone with you and already be ready to buy excuse me, because they know all the information that they need. So it's kind of a two-part game. You're creating content that makes your life easier, but at the same time, you want to do your research before you create that video because there might be a subtle tweak that you could make to that topic that would also have it rank for YouTube.
Mm.
Now, and so it's always for me a balancing act of like, I know this video is super relevant for my audience. There's not that many great keywords for it. I'm going to create it anyway because I'm going to use it a ton in my business and I don't necessarily care if it ranks or not, but my audience wants this versus this one video is clearly going to rank in the algorithm and I'm going to create that. So it's always like the balance between that two, those two things.
Yeah, I just want to pull out from what you just shared a great piece of advice for people who are always asking the question, but how do I find topics to talk about? Like you just said, just write down the top 20 questions that clients ask you on a regular basis. That's your first 20 videos right there. And then, like you said, all the things that you've said multiple times to whether it's clients or friends, basic advice. And you might think, well, those videos exist already. There's a million of them out there. Yes, but not from you. And if you can have the answer to people's questions, they're going to come back and they're going to keep consuming your content, watching your videos, getting advice from you without you having to be there. Like you said, it's really well said. You're help me here.
Cloning yourself.
Thank you. Cloning yourself. And that way you don't have to say it again. And then people can watch that, like today, tomorrow, a year from now, it's still the same stuff. It's still bringing them value and on a continuous basis, right?
And actually, to add to that, I think it's really, really good to think about the people around you when you're creating videos. Who are the people in your life that are eating incredibly unhealthily, right? Well, I can't even talk about this niche very well, but like think about the people around you. Like maybe your mom is, you go home for Christmas and everything has gluten in it and you're being gluten free because you know that it's reducing inflammation in your body or whatever, and you really want to get to her to change that mindset, to shift her perspective so that she understands the value of whatever it is that you promote for your clients. So think about the people genuinely in your life and ask the question, what information, if they knew it, would then allow them to have this aha moment and create content for the people in your life instead of creating content for this abstract person who is living halfway across the world who you just think exists that might be searching for this video. Your
Yeah.
videos will be so much better if you can do that.
And especially, again, piggybacking on that, if you make videos for specific people and then share it with them, even if you've answered their question in person, then you go back and do a video on this, they'll most likely share it with their friends as well because you've helped them. And then that's honestly how I get most of my ideas for my daily short videos is just I have a conversation with a client, an athlete, someone in the DMs on Instagram, ask me something, and that's my topic. And I'm like, hey, look, I made a video, go check that out. And I think the impact of making a video for someone is so powerful. It's underrated in my opinion. You making a video for someone specifically, and obviously it takes time, and that wouldn't be one of those, maybe not one of those big researched videos, but it's a 3-minute video that you can refer back to, like you said, share to future clients or friends that ask you again, be like, hey, I've answered that, go into my playlist on YouTube and you'll find all that, right?
Exactly. And keep it generic. You're making it for someone, but don't like address them, right? So it's like, in this video, we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. and then dive into the topic. But yeah, absolutely. We're right on board with each other. We're doing the same strategy for sure. I think
Looks
it's
like,
great.
yeah, it's going in the same direction. So we talked about YouTube for a bit here. You talked about the first step to get started. So for those who haven't paused it yet, pause it now. Go do your little video, talk to your phone, watch it again, see which one makes the most sense to you, and then come back here. But so to move forward from that, that was the step one. What is
Mhm.
step two? How do you get started after that? How do you talked about picking platforms a little bit, so maybe go over that again, and then what do you do?
Yeah. So choose a platform, choose a cadence that you can maintain. So if you aren't ready to do one video a week, don't do one video a week. Do one video a month. Like at first when you're just starting, right? Like but you want to keep in mind once again what's the ideal for the algorithm. Um, but if you can't do that, then create something that is sustainable for you, because ultimately sustainability is what matters. You don't want to burn yourself out by doing this. If you're doing something just because you feel like you need to do it, people can tell. So you need to do it to the point where you want to be doing it. And then you got to stay consistent no matter what. Like if we're just going bare bones basics, that's it.
Do you batch create your videos so that you can have some free time, or do you do it every single week?
Great question. And so okay, I'll back up for a quick second.
Hmm.
Basically, my whole mission with my channel is to help business owners and entrepreneurs create videos without breaking the bank or taking up tons of their time. So that's like the statement that I say in all of my videos. And I set out on this mission as a video marketer to say, okay, how can we create videos in a sustainable fashion? I didn't necessarily have the answers for how to create videos without breaking the bank or taking up tons of time. I had to discover it. So I think that's like a big thing too to consider, is like, what's the mission that you are setting out to do? That was mine.
Hmm.
So even as a video marketer starting on this, it's not always evident how to do it in the fastest way possible. Just because you have video skills doesn't mean you have a system that is going to make this sustainable. So throughout the time of doing this, I've like found the best way to create videos like in the fastest method possible.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm a course creator too, is because I've like packaged that into a system that I teach people how to do all of this, like the full step by step of that. But within that system, yes, it's you sit down once per month, you film all your videos in one sitting, and you outsource 80% of the editing. And I say 80% of the editing because one, you're a business owner, you don't have time to be editing a ton of videos. I think you need to learn how to do it first and foremost, because let's say, I can't tell you the number of times, and I'm sure Sean, you agree with this, but there's the number of times where it's like, shoot, I do need a video for tomorrow and I just need to bust something out.
Hmm.
So you need to have that skill. But if you batch record and then outsource 80% of your editing to get the majority off your plate, and then you do the 20% that matters, because you're talking about specific nutrition facts and things that an outsourcer is not going to understand. And
Hmm.
so you might repeat yourself in their video, in the video edit, and that you're repeating yourself, but that person doesn't. So you can go in there really quickly, make a couple of tweaks, and then export that video, instead of having to do this back and forth with your outsourcer that takes so much time, and they most likely won't even get it right,
Hmm.
which will throw off your whole ability to stay consistent. So yeah, sustainability is so key throughout this whole thing.
I wanted to talk about editing a little bit later, but since we're in the topic, let's jump on it. Editing software that you would recommend for someone who's just starting out and isn't super techy, and then the outsourcing part, which what would you go to? What is your go-to platform to find people to help you with those tasks?
Yeah, so I am a big advocate for Premiere Pro. I will, I'll give another tip in just a second here, but Premiere Pro really is the reason that I teach that, like for anyone within my world. or within my program, is because that is what outsourcers are going to be using. So if you're looking to collaborate on projects with someone, you can't be using iMovie or Camtasia or ScreenFlow or something like that. Like, you need to be working on the same operating system. So I think that's like really key. But if you're just creating really simple videos that don't require really intense editing, maybe they're just really simple 1-minute videos for Instagram or LinkedIn or something like that, then Descript is bomb. I don't know if you've heard about Descript, but
I have not. Tell me about it.
Okay. It is a text editing tool, a video editing software that makes it like you're editing video as if it's a Word doc. So it transcribes your whole video, and you just have to delete the sections that you don't want, and it cuts that out.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that
Amazing.
existed.
It's brand new as of this year. I've
Okay.
totally fallen in love with it. I have people reach out to me all the time with software and new technology that makes video editing easy, and I'm like, no, none of these make it easy. It's making it more complicated, but this one actually does work really, really well. So yeah, can't recommend it enough.
No, that's a great tip. I wasn't even aware of it, so I'm gonna have to go check it out. You said, outsourcing for the people that maybe don't have a budget because they're just starting out. We're gonna talk about video gear in a second, but someone's on the budget. Would you still recommend that they just edit it themselves and do the work, at least to understand it and keep the cost low, I guess?
I started outsourcing because I didn't have a budget, because you can charge, like, you as someone who is trading time for money, your time is really, really valuable, and you're more likely than not making more than $6 an hour, right? And so if you can pay an outsourcer $6 to $8 an hour to do this work for you, you will be able to spend more time with your clients and be able to make more money in the long run. So I really, really recommend, no matter what stage you're at, it is a good idea. Like, I still, like, I want to stress, I do recommend learning how to edit, but then very quickly getting it off your plate and just finding someone at a very affordable rate. Like, I pay using the system. Like, I've developed a system, right, that like makes it easy to work with someone. So I was paying $80 a month for someone to edit my videos.
And that's one a week, right? So four or five videos a month.
Yeah. And then I'll do the 20% finessing, right? But like, that's really good. And you have $80. You might even make more than $80 an hour with your job. So you get to work 1 extra hour, and that's saving you 15 hours of time from editing your videos, which once again allows you to stay consistent, because that's the game.
It is the game. Let's talk about gear. Let's talk about equipment, video equipment. Everybody thinks you need a really expensive camera to get started. So what's your take on that?
Cameras, or the phone in your pocket today is better than cameras were 2 or 3 years ago. Like, it is insane what technology is coming out these days on our phones. Like, your phone can shoot in 4K, which is a higher definition video. And so you can actually like it. And I think that when you're first getting started with video, the second that you go beyond your phone, things get a little bit more complex. You're going to have bigger file sizes. You're going to have to learn how to have, like, maybe run your audio and video separately, like record those separately. Now you have to figure out how to sync them. It just becomes a lot more complicated versus just focusing on getting comfortable on camera. What are you talking about in that whole process, and not having to worry about the tech in addition to that. So I think starting on your phone is a really, really great way to go. And I do recommend getting like a really affordable $30 lavalier microphone off Amazon to up the audio level of your phone too.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the most important thing to buy first? What's the first piece of equipment that you should buy when you're making videos for, let's say, YouTube or other platforms, and you want to provide quality, a lot of people think, hey, let's buy a new camera. But I find that usually the sound is the determining factor, because even on YouTube, a lot of people listen and don't even watch. You know, if they can have it in their pocket. I do that all the time. I listen to podcasts, I listen to
You
stuff.
have YouTube Red, don't you?
I don't actually. I had it for a long
Oh.
time, and then it ate my life up. So now, I love the feature where you could just, like you said, lock your phone and still listen to YouTube. So now I just have it open on my phone in my pocket, but I'm just not watching it. I'm just listening. But like yeah. So audio, and you said a little mic, $30. That's all it takes to get to the next level, right?
Yeah, I think audio and lighting are key.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a big window that you can use that allows you to have a forward-facing light in front of you, then you don't need to get lights. You could just use that. If you're filming shorter videos, I think that lighting becomes challenging when it's constantly changing. So if you're doing a really long video with multiple takes, then your video you're gonna like cut, and it's gonna be bright in 1 second and then dark in the next. That's a nightmare,
Mm-hmm.
especially for a beginner editor. So if you can just have a constant light source, if you go to amandahorvath.com/gear, then, and you can link that in the show notes too,
Mm-hmm.
I've like recommended like best light kit, best for like $60, and then lavalier mic for $30. I think if you just get those two things, then you're gonna be a lot better off.
What's the following thing to get after you have a decent mic and good lighting? What's the next big step forward, if there needs to be one?
Um, I think that once you get comfortable, there is a difference in quality of, like, when you do get a camera, you're going to recognize a massive shift in quality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just think it's not great to start there. So I think get comfortable, use your phone, and then once you know that you're doing this, you're consistent, you see money coming in, then maybe at that point I think it would be worth investing in a camera uh, at that stage.
Is DSLR the way to go when you want to step it up, or are there some maybe really good webcam type cameras that are still, that are better than what's on the computer right here, but that are kind of in between that and the DSLR?
Great question. I would just rather use your phone than that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just a personal preference. So you could technically do that. I would say the next, like within my program, what I recommend, because I've done tons of research, so it's essentially phone and then $1,000 DSLR is the next step up. So I think there is an option that I recommend that's like a $500 option. So the Canon M50 is a good one. That's like the mid-tier 500-ish. Lumix G7 is also a really solid one that's around that range. And then the Canon 90D is the $1,000 one that I recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you have the budget, if you're just rolling and money isn't a problem, then the Panasonic GH5 is what I use, and I freaking love it. It is such a good camera, but it's about a $3,000 setup probably.
So maybe a little
So,
bit down the road for those who are just starting out.
what do
Okay.
you use?
Well, I actually really like my phone right now. All the
Yeah, there you go.
podcasts that I do them all with the computer. And then when I'm
Perfect.
making another video, it's either just point and shoot, kind of, yeah, just holding my phone. Sometimes while I walk, sometimes I have a little thing to hold it here. So if I'm sitting at the table, I'll put it on there. And I actually really like the quality of the video, way
Yeah.
beyond this quality here from the computer itself. I was thinking about getting a DSLR and hooking it up through Zoom and getting that USB converter thing. And it just sounds like a whole lot of hassle for, yes, a
It is.
better video. And honestly, for the podcast itself, I'm happy with the kind of okay video, because people are more here for the audio than anything else. So I'm still, we have a DSLR, my wife has one, but just thinking about all the cabling of getting, a power source on there constantly so it doesn't die in the middle, and then getting the adapter, which I know is not expensive, it's about $100 to get the HDMI into the USB into Zoom. But all this just sounds like a lot for a fairly small return. So for now, I haven't made that jump yet.
I honestly think in that case, a webcam would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Personally, I have all of the things that you're talking about, and I did not set it up today. Like,
Hmm.
it's just a lot to do.
It is. It is exactly.
And it's like, if you have a desk set up that it can be set up all the time, cool,
Hmm.
which people do. But like, for example, my normal desk setup has light behind me, so I can't do that in my normal desk setup. So I think it kind of depends on your variables. But a webcam in that case, I think would be good, and for coaching calls and such like that.
Yeah, I've been looking at this in Logitech ones for $100,
Hmm.
$200 that seem to be, very good quality. So that's probably going to be the next step. But otherwise, yeah, the phone, I put my phone, I recorded one today and I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is way better than the computer itself.
Yeah, it looks
It's
so
a few
good.
years old, but it's just so much better. So back to your point of just use your phone, it's already a great place to start.
And on that note, the like I always say that video like makes you up level your life and business, right? And if you have a super old phone, well, maybe it's time for an upgrade.
Hmm.
Like, why not up level your life, right? Like, just go out and make it happen. I don't know. We spend so much time on our phones anyway, so the
Write it out
cameras
as
are
an
worth it.
expense too.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Exactly.
Apple upgrade program.
Exactly. So Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the show today for to help all our listeners with their first steps in video. I want to finish up with some rapid fire questions with you today. They're going to be favorites. So let's go with the first one. What's the favorite video project you worked on?
Bicycle sports shop. I did a video and it had like a lot of a sentimental feeling behind it. And it's like a really, really solid video. I think that's definitely one of my favorites.
What's your, I think you mentioned it already, your favorite camera to film with?
Panasonic GH5.
Panasonic GH5. Your favorite platform right now?
YouTube.
Favorite podcast to listen to?
Online marketing made easy
All
with
right.
Amy Porterfield.
Yeah, that's going to be a favorite for a lot of people listening to the show as well. Last one, favorite content creator.
uh Lizzie Pierce.
What does she do?
She is a she's in the video space as well, but she primarily teaches other people like how to take better photos and such like that. But
Hmm.
she's just a there's not very many women creators on YouTube,
Hmm.
and she is definitely leading the charge and doing it in a really like humble and awesome way. So it's fun to watch.
Amanda, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. Where can people find more about what you do on social media?
Yeah, so if you just head over to amandahorvath.com, then everything is there. There's that quick start guide to video that I mentioned. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see all of my links for social. Um, but yeah, if you're on Instagram, I'm on there. If you're definitely go check out the YouTube channel and would love to connect with you and hear your thoughts about this podcast.
Yeah, I'll back that up. Amanda's got an absolutely great YouTube channel. You'll find all the help that you need to get started on video. So go check her out there. Go follow her on Instagram, her website as well for tons of resources. Amanda, have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.